And welcome to the Thursday Night Tailgate, everyone. I hope you brought your beer. I have mine. Let's all cheers and toast. As you can tell, I've got my Packers paraphernalia in the back. Go Pack Go. I don't care. Lions fans, they're still not sure if this is a real thing or not. They don't know if the Lions are for real. I mean, the Lions beat the Packers the last time they faced off at the end of week number 18 last year, and it was a big time loss, keeping the Packers out of the playoffs. So you could say this is a revenge game, or this is also the Lions proving that they deserve to be on the national stage again for the second time in 4 weeks. The Detroit Lions are playing on Thursday, and this game is in Green Bay. The Packers are 2.5-point dogs at home. That shifted. It was only about a 1-point line earlier in the day and yesterday. And the over-under has dropped from 45.5 to 45. So just a slight dip, even though we got confirmation that David Montgomery and Christian Watson and Aaron Jones are all going to play in this game. So I think you're playing most of those players. I mean, we'll get into each of those as you put in your questions. And just like we have been doing the last 3 weeks, put your questions, your start sits in the chat. I already see some comments coming in of, should I start David Montgomery? Should I start Aaron Jones? Should I start Christian Watson? And the answer is probably going to be yes. This is a 45 over under, so you don't want to be missing out. You do not want to be missing out on these players. This is, of course, Christian Watson's debut. He missed the first 3 games due to a hamstring injury, but we'll get into your start sit questions a little bit deeper and my analysis as to why you should or should not play certain players in this game. Daniel, how do you feel about starting Christian Watson tonight? Well, let's just rip the Band-Aid off, right? How do you feel about starting Christian Watson tonight? Deciding between him or Judy or Myers versus the LA Chargers. You know, I have Watson over Judy in my rankings, but Jacoby Myers, I think, deserves the nod in this scenario. Jacoby Myers has been absolutely crushing. I love not only the floor that Myers is showing, he's earning the targets, but also, I mean, he's getting the target share. He's getting some touchdowns. We've seen spike weeks from Jacoby Myers. So we're not going to be moving off of Jacoby Myers. Myers is clearly a safe floor wide receiver too. Christian Watson, in his debut, we have to acknowledge the risk. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, is the risk of Christian Watson either re-injuring his hamstring or dealing with complications or just not getting as many snaps, given how well Romeo Doubs has played and how well Jaden Reed has played in the first 3 weeks. You have to wonder if the Packers are going to roll them out slowly. There is at least risk there. I'm saying I think that Christian Watson is going to play full complement of snaps. If he says that he's ready, Packers believe he's ready, then we should as well. But there exists that risk that doesn't exist with Jacoby Myers. Myers is ready to go. So I think we wait and see with Christian Watson versus Jacoby Myers. But I'm a little frightened about Jerry Jeudy. I mean, shoot, like, Jeudy has really underperformed to start the season. Yeah, like really bad. Let me pull up Jeudy's stats here. If you guys haven't gone on to playerprofiler.com and use the stats, use the matchup tools, like, go on to Player Profiler. It's really, really great stuff. And you can look up players like Christian Watson. Okay. And Watson right now, we can look at what the 2022 defense allowed, and it was a great matchup against wide receivers. But with regard to Jeudy, Jerry Jeudy this year, 12 targets in 2 games, so only 6 targets per game. Not amazing. 4 receptions per game, 53 yards per game. He is the wide receiver 54 in terms of fantasy points per game, 80 air yards. Like, his target shares are respectable 19 and 18%, but we like the upside of Christian Watson. Looking at Judy's game log, right? He improved from week 2 to week 3. He was wide receiver 33 last week. But I think the tantalizing upside for Christian Watson is why we want to be rolling him out. And that's why, if the Packers are confident in playing Christian Watson tonight on a national stage game, in a game where like the winner goes to 3-1 and the loser goes to 2-2, and there's a significant shift in the division, like, this proves who they are, I think, at this point in the season. Because the Packers, right, they came back from being down 17-0 against New Orleans, but New Orleans lost Derek Carr. They faced the Atlanta Falcons and they lost. The Packers lost the Falcons, but the Lions beat the Falcons pretty handily. And then, in week 1, the Packers played the Bears, and the Bears were a cakewalk defense. We didn't know it at the time, but I mean, they've looked bad and they've continued to be bad. The Bears have, whereas the Lions, played valiantly against the Chiefs, on Thursday night to start the season. So I think that we're going to go with in order: Myers, Watson, Judy is how I'd have it. Jahmyr Gibbs or Alvin Kamara? That's a great question. I think we're going to go with Alvin Kamara here, with Jamal Williams on IR. Kendre Miller, he didn't do much with his rushes. He only had 34 rushing yards on 9 attempts. Not really what you wanted to see. I mean, his PFF rush grade was okay. His yards after contact were fine. 3.3 was fine. But Alvin Kamara has been trusted by this organization to handle 17 to 20 carries. And Tony Jones is a nothing back, right? So especially given this situation and that David Montgomery is back, yeah, we're going to go with Alvin Kamara. We're going to bench Gibbs in favor of Kamara. Howdy ho. I am debating who to bench between Jaden Reed, Gus Bus, and Drake London. Oh, man, this hurts. This hurts our soul because it should be Drake London, right? we should be able to start Drake London comfortably, but the question, the fact that we're asking, should we play this player who's probably going to revert to a part-time role with Christian Watson back, or should we be running out an older, zero upside running back in Gus Edwards, or Drake London, who Drake London is 77th among wide receivers in terms of PFF receiving grade. Absolutely gross, absolutely disgusting. It's disastrous. Like Ronnie Bell is ahead of him. Okay, that's Khalil Shakir. This is Jaden Reed, right, is ahead of Drake London in terms of their receiving grades. So, yeah, I don't know how you can trust Drake London. Like, Drake London's benchable. And in what could be a very nice shootout game in a 45-pointer, Jaden Reed. Yeah, let's go with Jaden Reed. He played 42 snaps in the last game. I know that he's probably going to play fewer given that Christian Watson is back, but Reed has played very well. And I think that it's going to be hard for us to bench Jaden Reed in terms of versus Drake London. I think it's very close. So let's go with Jaden Reed here. I know it feels a little spicy, but it's not as spicy as it could be. Okay. Oh, we've got a Felix Tav. Appreciate you jumping in. Woo. If you guys want some of the starred, want to prioritize your chat, for sure, you can throw some that way. I'll prioritize your chats. Absolutely. Hello. Would you go with PPR Flex Nakua or Jones? Aaron Jones here. Ooh, yeah. So Aaron Jones, I think, is very startable, but it's impossible for you to not be playing Puka Nakua right now. Puka Nakua is setting the world on fire. I don't understand how we can keep him out of the lineup. An 81.7 PFF receiving grade. He leads all NFL players in targets. He has 40, even more than Keenan Allen, 30 receptions, 338 yards through 3 games. You cannot ignore what Puka Nacua is doing. He's 4th in receiving yards and leads the NFL in targets. You can't bench Nacua, just a higher floor player. Jones may have a higher ceiling because 3 touchdowns is always in his range of outcomes. And we've seen in 2020 and in 2021, Aaron Jones have a 40-point burger against the Detroit Lions. But that was a couple years ago, and we're talking different Lions defense, the whole bit. I think you do go with Puka Nacua this week over Aaron Jones if you are flexing. Okay, let's keep going. Dustin, this is an interesting strategy question about tonight. Let's all cheers for Dustin activating Luke Musgrave off of Taxi. That's great. Yeah, cheers to you. Activating Musgrave off the taxi squad for Juju Smith-Schuster. Yeah, Juju has really struggled. If you guys missed it in my Stack Hunters episode last night, I check it out. It's really good stuff. I take a look at, I compare players and their ADPs from the end of the summer to how their total points aligned. And when we talk about disappointing players, Juju Smith-Schuster was being drafted as the wide receiver 53. And right now, he is the wide receiver 85 in terms of fantasy points. 85. That 32 slot differential is 15th worst among wide receivers. I mean, Cooper Kupp is up there because he hasn't played yet. Christian Watson is up there because he hasn't played. The Jameson Williams is up there because he hasn't played yet. Deontay Johnson has been on IR for the majority of the season. It's mostly players who have missed significant games. Juju has not done so. You can drop Juju and let someone else deal with the Juju Smith-Schuster issue, like of whether they should roster him or whether they should even consider starting him in a bye week. Like, I can't imagine a scenario where Juju this year is a viable fantasy option. I'm sorry. You're activating Musgrave in a 2 tight end league. Yes. David Montgomery or Ramondre full PPR. Yeah, let me pull up my Fantasy Pros rankings and I can tell you what I have here. Of course, I make a couple minor adjustments right before kickoff just to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Ramondre right now is 16 in my half PPR. Let me switch to PPR settings. Right now, Ramondre is 14 in PPR and David Montgomery is 24. So pretty comfortably Ramondre ahead of David Montgomery. You have to remember, Ramondre is disappointed this year in terms of total fantasy points, but he's giving you 2 top 20 weeks. I mean, he hasn't imploded. It's just been disappointing because we haven't seen like RB5, RB6, RB3 on the week. That's not been happening for Ramondre because Ezekiel Elliott is averaging 9 carries a game and a few targets and receptions throughout. So yes, we're going with Ramondre over David Montgomery. Okay. How do we feel about David Montgomery tonight? Yeah. So I have Montgomery, as I said, as my running back 24 in PPR leagues. In half PPR, I think he's just slightly higher at 23. So there you go. Daniel, yeah, reinforcing what I said earlier, the Packers are super conservative when it comes to injuries. Like, they will double and triple check and make sure that you are ready to roll. Part of me wonders if they were saving him for this game. I mean, fair. I don't know if they were saving him for this game, but they were definitely saving him. The Packers, and you could also tell, as we were getting to week 1, Christian Watson was ruled out very quickly. I think it was Thursday or Friday that Christian Watson was ruled out in week 1. Then for week 2, he was ruled out on Saturday night. And then Sunday morning is when he was ruled out in week 3. So progressively shifting over the course of for the last 3 weeks. And now he's activated for week number 4. I think that Christian Watson is a pretty good play. You're like, well, where do you have Christian Watson ranked, Bradley? And right now I have Christian Watson as wide receiver 28 Okay. He is behind the likes of Jacoby Myers. I think I might move him up. I want Christian Watson ahead of Garrett Wilson this week. But Christian Watson, assuming Brandon Ayuk plays, behind Brandon Ayuk. Yeah, I think we need to move up Christian Watson. I think we're going to get him into wide receiver probably when I'm all said and done with it. By the time we get to kickoff at 8:15 or so, Christian Watson will most likely end up in my top 24 wide receivers. So there we go. What trades should I make? You have Pollard, Gus, AJ Dillon, Garrett Wilson, Amari Cooper, Dotson, Palmer, and Thielen. I need a running back. Yeah, if you can trade Thielen to get, anyone with a pulse. Let me see if there's someone that, because this is a sell high for Thielen. If you can Zach Moss, if you can get James Conner, that would be great. Jerome Ford even could be a real cheap asset there. Yeah, I think that those will be fine going after a running back. Kamara has not been good when handling a heavy load historically. I don't disagree with you there, R. Brian Brown. He has not been good in efficiency, but he has scored fantasy points. And Kamara is also one of the highest upside running backs that's still out there because he is like Aaron Jones. He's shifty. He can catch passes. And we've seen spike weeks in the past from players like Kamara and Aaron Jones, and they do not need full complement of snaps or carries or even passes in the passing game. But that's where they make their money, is not between the tackles. Like Kamara typically is not a super efficient guy. So there we go. Shout out you, R. Brian Brown, for asking for a little more precision about the Kamara decision. Also, Gus or AJ Dillon. Yeah, let's pull up the rankings here for the half PPR rankings. Excuse me. I have Gus Edwards at 44 and AJ Dillon at 40. So both outside my top 36. Edwards I have lower because it is the Cleveland matchup. Cleveland is really, really tough. Yeah. You're probably not looking for an upside game from Gus Edwards. Like Tazi Spears and Derrick Henry were not getting anything done against Cleveland. You bench Gus Edwards this week. Sorry, blunder, hammerow. Okay, cool. We're a little bit more than halfway. I want to give another cheers, y'all. So cheers. We're tailgating, right? We're having fun. We're drinking some beer. We're enjoying. My Packers are playing tonight against, I live 25 minutes outside the city of Detroit. I work with a bunch of Lions fans, right? And they were just giving me, all this difficulty at work. And I was like, one of us is going to come in on Friday and be very happy, and one of us is not. And so we will see how it turns out. But go Pack go is what I have to say. We'll all give a cheers, and then y'all can throw some more start-sit comments in the chat. I like getting to all of them. I'm going to be here until 8 o'clock. So that way I can get myself prepared for Thursday Night Football from a rankings spot. But other than that, like, throw your comments in the chat. We're going to have some cheers, and always a good time doing these tailgates. Appreciate y'all jumping into the Player Profiler channel. If you're new to the channel and you like the content, make sure you guys are smashing that subscribe button. It's great to support the channel. There we go. Cool. So I was going to look something up, and now I just lost my train of thought. It's okay. Matt Chen, GC, who to sit? Aaron Jones, James Conner, Zach Moss. I think in this instance, where do I have Jones? I have Jones at 21 in my rankings. I have James Conner 19, and Zach Moss I have at 11 right now. So Aaron Jones is the sit out of these three. Yeah, he is the sit out of these three. Cool. Let's keep her rolling. Would you trade Achane? That's how you pronounce it, by the way, not Achane. Achane for Jonathan Taylor. In Dynasty, yes. In redraft, no. Achane is going to crush. I don't know if he's going to be an RB1, He won't be the RB1 overall, but we are very confident in him returning on mid-pack running back 2 numbers moving forward. So I like that. I like keeping Achane because Jonathan Taylor's situation is really muddy. And I don't trust anything that any of the people are saying in this situation, Irsay or Taylor, about each other. I don't trust it at all. And you shouldn't trust running backs about what they say. Think about Miles Sanders, right? Last year, Miles Sanders was like, don't draft me for fantasy, guys. Okay. Or Saquon Barkley comes out and says something along the lines of, yeah, like I'll stay out the whole year, blah, blah, blah. And he signs a contract extension the next day. Like, running backs don't tell the truth. I don't think they're lying. I just don't think, I think that they're detached from reality. Like, they just don't understand, which is, it's okay. It is okay. Hi, Papa. Bills defense are my starter, but they play Miami. Should I play defense or should I just go top available? Lou, we're going to have start more non-Thursday Night Football start sits. I'm going to be hopping on the Dominator on Saturday with Billy Muzio. We're going to talk through start sits, so hop in there. I believe it's going to be about 9 p.m. Eastern on this channel, so make sure you ask that then. That would be great. All right. Daniel's asking, what about Watson versus like Achane versus Buffalo or Kyron versus Indy? Yeah, you're firing up Kyron and Achane over Watson if you're having to choose in those flexes. Like, there's just more risk with Watson versus what we've seen so far out of Achane and Kyron Williams. So we should definitely consider those two running backs over Watson, the wide receiver. That's how I would attack that. Okay, cool. All right. Before we move on, I need to get a word in from our sponsor.
All right, I want to take a moment today to talk to you about data analysis. The data analysis tool, we listen to the users. What do you want? What do you need? And we made it happen. We added popular reports like a fantasy scoring report, air yards report. And if you want to create a new report, but you don't necessarily want to look through every field, we have quick results. Hey, show me the most popular passing data. Show me the most popular rushing data, fantasy data. Done. And the thing just is much faster than it's ever been. And the report builder got a lot easier. I mean, check this out. We break it down into offense, defense. Show me just fantasy data elements. And then when you get results, hey, show me by draft year. Let's take a look at just certain players that played a certain number of snaps or a certain number of games last year. This is the tool that so many of you have been asking for, plus a bunch of dream features that Billy wanted and Cody wanted and I wanted and Dario wanted. So go to the fantasy tools section, click on data analysis, or go to playerprofiler.com/data-analysis.
That's right. Get our data analysis as part of your player profiler package for sure. Let's keep it rolling with the comments. I want to get to all of them before we get into Thursday Night Football. Lou, oh, you're asking more non-Thursday Night Football questions. Daniel, we got a cheers. Every time we get a cheers, I think I'll take a sip of my beer. Okay, here's the Thursday Night Football question from Daniel. Shout out to you. Aaron Jones or DeAndre Swift? I'm pretty sure I have Swift ahead. Yeah, I have Swift at 13. Pretty comfortably ahead of Aaron Jones at 21. You're starting DeAndre Swift. He's playing very well. Eagles are very good. We won it. There we go. Pick 3. Oh, man, I love these. Montgomery, Kamara, James Cook, or Saquon. Okay, so you're starting James Cook, right? Oh, man. Saquon, I haven't ranked him yet, but I think he is worth ranking. He has gotten some practices in. Maybe I didn't. Saquon Barkley. Yeah, let's see. So I hadn't ranked him yet, but I definitely would consider Saquon and James Cook. If Saquon is available, you're going to probably have to play him. But we're monitoring that. If you have to make a decision, you're starting James Cook, you're starting Kamara. It's a question of, are you going to be willing to wait for Saquon? Given how risky it is right now, let's go Monty, Kamara, and James Cook if you have to pick those Oh, I see you snuck in Gibbs there too. Gibbs over Montgomery I have barely at 22 versus Monty at 23. So we're going to go Gibbs, Kamara, and James Cook there. Thanks, Scott. Okay. And let's see. Here we go. Here's a question about Thursday Night Football from Daniel. Nico Collins, T. Higgins, James Cook, or Watson in the flex? Yeah, we're going to go with James Cook here. Cook I have as a top 10 back this week against Miami. This is going to be one of those real high-scoring games. We want in on that game. Let's see. Just for everyone's entertainment, the over-under in that game, the Miami-Buffalo game, is 54. The next closest over-under for the week is 48.5, the Raiders versus Chargers. So we're going to start James Cook. He's getting 15 plus touches every game. You want James Cook in your lineup. Cheers, A and J. Take another sip. Okay. Would I start one of the defenses tonight? Probably not. Looking at where I have my defenses ranked right now, the Lions are at 16, the Packers are at 21, so you probably have better options of ranking your defenses. Debo isn't practicing. Would you start David Montgomery over him? Yeah, San Francisco is pretty conservative when it comes to, especially early in the season, injuries. So this is a tough one. I think we do go with the floor of David Montgomery versus just taking a 0. I mean, it depends on who else you have on your bench. It depends on who else you have on your bench. If there's someone else that you can also pivot to, if Debo isn't playing, because if you have a David Montgomery type of fantasy contributor on your bench as well that can start Sunday, then I would just keep Debo in the lineup until you get more information at this point. Okay. Kenneth Williams, shout out to you. If you want to prioritize your chat, just a reminder, we're ending in about 3 minutes, but shout out to you, Kenneth. Pickens, Godwin, or Atwell, full PPR. Wow, that's a tough one. Let me pull up the rankings so I can give you how I would have it. Pickens I have at wide receiver 22. Chris Godwin I have at 26. And Tutu Atwell at 31. So Pickens over Godwin and Atwell. Musgrave or Waller. We're still going with Waller. Marcus. I know Musgrave has played very well, but that's not going to happen. Where are my rankings located? They're on Fantasy Pros, fantasypros.com. You can look them up there. I should do a better job of integrating that into my website, but Player Profiler, you can also take a look at the rankings on there as well. You can go for that. And there we go. Okay, cool. Awesome. I think I've answered all of your Thursday night questions as best as I could. Shout out to y'all who put in the starred chat. Appreciate you. One last thing before I go. Y'all should make sure you're checking out Waiver Wired by Matt Kelly here at Player Profiler. He's been crushing the waiver wire. He absolutely has. Matt is a superstar. He's a great boss, superstar, and I'm grateful to be working for him here at Player Profiler. So check out Matt Kelly's Waiver Wired every week because, I mean, it's a game changer. You guys will get the best insight into how to attack the waiver wire every Tuesday from the podfather himself, Matt Kelly. Make sure you guys are checking it out on Tuesdays. All right. It is just about 8 o'clock. I'm signing off. Good luck with your Thursday night football start sits, everyone. And until next time, good luck in the fantasy streets and go Pack Go. Where's my outro? There we go.
Hey, I want to take a moment to thank you for tuning in. It's important to me that all of our media be free. This is only possible because of you allowing a true independent sports media enterprise to thrive unlike any other in the business. So please subscribe to the All In Package to continue to make all this possible, to ensure that all of our stats, information, data, content is available to you, especially you, the people that get the site and get the show.